Hi there, guys. This is for my IGCSE students. I'm going to do some rounding to significant figures here. I'm going to do this fairly quickly. This should be a recap for most students. Right, so here we go. So here's a pretty small number. Okay, the first most significant place here is the 2. And I've written down the definition here of what the first most significant figure is, or how to find the first most significant figure in a number. Now, first most significant figure is the first digit on the left, which is not 0. So for this number here, this would be the first non-zero number on the left-hand side. Okay, so there's the first most significant figure. If you want the second most significant figure, it's the 3. Okay, so we've got this kind of the number in the hundredths place. We've got the number in the thousandths place, and then the tens of thousandths place here would be the third most significant figure, and so on. Okay, let's just take some of that back. Okay, now on with this number here, so with a large number, I've got there 32,569. Now you might want to put a little comma in between the 2 and the 5 there just to help you read it, because obviously we read in sets of hundreds. So for example, if I put a 1 there, 132,569. Okay, but let's just take that 1 away again. Or some people put a little space here as well, just a small space to help you read the number. Okay, so the most significant figure in this number here, the 32,569, is the 3. Again, it's the first digit on the left, which is not a 0. Well, in this case, we don't have any zeros on the left before the 3. You wouldn't write them. You don't say we've got no 100,000s. Okay, so if we wanted to round this to one significant figure, we need to identify the first most significant figure. And then we just need to see afterwards whether or not we've got a 5 or more. 5 or more, rather. Okay, so draw a line off, circle the next number. Is it 5 or more? Well, in this case, it's not 5 or more. So it means to say that we're not going to add 1 onto the one in front. So in this case, we can then get rid of all of those numbers behind. So if we were only going to choose to write this number with one digit in the right place, then we would put the 2 in the hundredths place, and we'd fill the rest up with 0.0, because we need to still have the 2 in the hundredths place. So we need those zeros in front. We don't need any of the zeros behind, because if we were going to put more numbers, then we'd put the 3, the 5, the 4, and so on. Okay, so we don't put those. We just want one significant figure, and that is done. Okay, now afterwards, you normally say 1SF, or you can say 21SF. SF stands for significant figures, or figure in this case. Now, you usually put that in a bracket, and you put a dot after the S and a dot after the F as well. Okay, so that's to one significant figure. I'm going to take this back, and I'm going to do the same number to two significant figures. So again, we've identified the first most significant place, that's the 2. The second most significant place is the 3. And we're going to draw a line off, and let's look at the next number. Is it 5 or more? Yes, it is. And so in this case, we're going to add 1 onto the one in front. So we're closer to 0.024 than we are to 0.23. Okay, this number is trapped in between 0.23, and 0.024. It's in between those two. And because there's a 5 afterwards, anywhere from the middle upwards would round to the next place, basically. So to the nearest thousandth with this one, let's just take that back. Okay, to the nearest thousandth, we would write 0.024. And that's because we've added 1, because we've got a 5 or more coming afterwards. Now, you might be asking, well, what happens if you're exactly in the middle? What if that was, what if we have 0.023 and 0.024? And the number we're looking for is exactly in the middle, 0.0235. Well, when you're exactly in the middle, you could go one way or the other. but as a convention, we always go up. So if it's a 5 or more, we always go up, okay, to the next. We round off for the previous place. Okay, so there we go. That one's done, and now that one is for 2 significant figures. Okay, now with this question here, so not a question just yet, but with this one, 32,569, you can also round this to 1 significant figure, 2 significant figures, 3 significant figures, and so on. And this is the beauty of using significant figures instead of decimal places, because obviously here, this one doesn't have any decimal places to round off to. So we can decide to round this to 1 significant figure. And what we're really saying there is, what is this to the nearest 10,000? Okay, so in this position here, we've got tens of thousands. Okay, so that's our first most significant place. It's the first digit on the left, which is not a 0. So if we want to round this to 1 significant figure, we highlight this, underline this number, then draw a line off, and let's look at the next number. Is it 5 or more? No, it's not, in which case we can get rid of that. Now, we can't actually say that that's equal to 3, or it approximates. Let's use a curly equals sign there to say approximately equals 2. We can't say that that's approximately equals to 3 because it's nowhere near 3. It's very close to 30,000. So we still need to use all our zeros there to make sure that we've got the 3 in the correct place. So in the previous question, we didn't put the zeros on the end because they were not necessary, because we had the 2 and the 4 in the correct places. But here we need to put the zeros on the end because we need the 3 in the tens of thousands place. So we need those zeros up until the decimal point if it's a large number, and we need the zeros up until the decimal point, and including the 0 on the other side, if it's a really small number, if it's less than 1. Okay, so that's to one significant figure for that number. It's going to be 30,000. Now, if we're going to do it to 2 significant figures, this is now our thousands position. You can see we've got 2 thousands there, and we've got 30 tens of thousands, and we've got 5 hundreds, and we've got 6 tens, and we've got 9 units. Okay, but I'm not interested in those at the moment. If we were asked to do this to 2 significant figures, you could say, well, here we go. That's the first most significant place. This is the second most significant place. Let's draw a line off. Let's look at the next number. Is it 5 or more? Yes, it is. So we can add 1 onto the one in front. So this number is going to become approximately equals to 33,000 to 2 significant figures. So 2SF. Okay. So we've got 32,000, and that's now been rounded to the nearest 1,000. It's closer to 33,000 than it is to 32,000. Now, again, if we wanted to do this to 3 significant figures, let's take that back a little bit. Okay, so to 3 significant figures, we'd now include the 5 there. So that would be in the hundreds place. We draw a line off, and we look at the next place. Is it 5 or more? Yes, it is. Add 1 to the one in front. So we've now got 32,600. That would be to 3 significant figures or to the nearest 100. It's the same thing. Okay, and again, we can write our wiggly and a curly equal sign there just to say it's approximately equals to, and that's to 3 significant figures. Okay, now this one can go all the way up until 5 significant figures. And if you wanted 5 significant figures, we'd be allowed to use a digit here as well. We'd be allowed to use a non-zero digit here as well. And so we'd have hundreds, tens, and units there. And in fact, to 5 significant figures, it's the same number because, well, let's look at the place afterwards. Well, the place afterwards is a 0, if you like. It's a 0.0. That means we're not going to add anything onto the one in front. That means we just keep it as it is. We're allowed to use the whole number. Okay, guys, well, thanks for listening, and good luck with the practice today. And hopefully see you later.